Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about comparative adjectives. Alright, let's get started. Here we have two mobile phones. The first one on the top, as you can see the picture, and we have a second one on the bottom. Alright, let's take a look at the information that we have about them. Let's call this one mobile phone number 1 and this one mobile phone number 2. Alright, oops. Okay, so now mobile phone number 1 is very fast. It's 120 grams and it's quite expensive. Mobile phone number 2 is very slow. It's only 100 grams and it's quite cheap. Now imagine I have these two phones and I want to put them here. So this thing here, this, we call it scale. So I have these two phones, mobile phone number 2, mobile phone number 1. And I put them on the scale and I want to see which one goes down and which one goes up, or the other way around. So the first thing that I want to do is about the first item. So right here I have this one and I have this one. So this one is very fast, this one is very slow. So what do I say? I say here that mobile phone number 1 is number 2 and the adjective is fast. So what can I say here? We know that this is fast, this is slow. So what can I say here? So the adjective is fast. Say number 1 is faster. Very good. Faster than mobile phone number 2. So I say mobile phone number 1 is faster than number 2. Very good. So what is this? What is this? Okay, in order to answer that, let's look at it right here. So, first of all, what is fast? Fast is adjective. So, for example, I can say the mobile phone is fast. I'm talking about one mobile phone. See, let's go back here. I am talking about one mobile phone and it's fast. But when I have two mobile phones, and if you remember, I want to put the two mobile phones on the scale. So here, now I have two mobile phones. So I'm not talking about one, I'm talking about both of them. So here, I cannot use adjective. I need to use another form. The other form is what we call it comparative adjective. So this is comparative adjective. Now, how do we make comparative adjective? For example, we have fast. What is a comparative adjective of fast? You can see it here. Say faster. Exactly. So the first rule is to add er. So this adjective, let me ask you a question. How many syllables is it? it's only one syllable. One syllable. So we say fast. One syllable. So for one syllable adjectives, we only add er. So fast plus er, faster. Now, for example, this one. The next adjective is big. How many syllables is this one? Big is also one syllable. Good. So it's one syllable. Now look at here. What is G? G is a consonant or a vowel? It's a consonant. Do you remember the consonants and vowels? Vowels are A, E, I, O, U. Consonants, any other letter, B, C, D, G, H, K, and other letters. So G here is a vowel or a consonant. It's a consonant. Before G, we have I. I is a vowel. Before I, we have B, we have consonant. So, end of your adjective, if we have consonant, vowel, consonant, or CVC, if we have a consonant, vowel, consonant at the end of your adjective, then what do? We double the last consonant and then add er. So we say big, double G, and then er. So the comparative adjective would be bigger. Good. So number 3 that we want to talk about is, look at this adjective. Heavy. How many syllables is heavy? Heavy. 2 syllables. So it's not one syllable. This was one syllable, but here we have 2 syllables. But what is the last letter of heavy? It's Y. So when you have 2 syllables, but still you have Y at the end, 2 syllables and Y, we change Y to I and then add ER. So what would it be? What is the comparative adjective? Heavier. Like this. Oops, let me write it with red. Heavier. Like that. Perfect. So now let's take a look at these 2 phones again. Phone number 1, phone number 2. So for the first one, for this one, very fast, very slow. So we said number 1 is faster than number 2. Let me just clean this part. Okay, so we said number 1 is faster than number 2. Now I want to reverse this sentence. Number 2 is number 1. So slow is 1 syllable and we add ER. So we say number 2 is slower than number 1. Look, what is this one? When I want to compare 2 things in the sentence, usually, not always, Usually I use this word than. T-H-A-N. And it goes after the comparative adjective. So I usually use than after the comparative adjective. Again, not always, usually. Good. Now let's talk about this item. Let me clean that part. Okay. So we have so far talked about this and this. Now let's talk about these ones. So if you remember, we talked about the adjective here. So I say number 1 is number 2. Number 1 is, the adjective is heavy. So what do I say? Can you help? Think about it. Pause the video for a second and think. Number 1 is heavier. You remember we changed Y to I and we have 2 syllables. Heavier than number 2. This one is 120 grams, 100 grams. So this one is heavier. Good. Now, let's clean this one and write it about the last point. Okay, so we talked about this, this, and this. Now we want to talk about the price. One of them is expensive, one of them is cheap. Now, what do I say for expensive? Very good. Let's take a look at it. Let's come back here. So, expensive, let me write it here, number 4. Expensive. How many syllables is expensive? 1, 2, 3. 3 syllables. So, for the adjectives that they are 2 syllables or more, means 3 syllables, 4 syllables, or even more, what do we do? Do we add ER? No. What we do is that we add more before the adjective. Look, we say more expensive. So more goes before expensive. For example, another one, we have beautiful, and we say more beautiful. Good. So for expensive, we say more expensive. The comparative adjective of expensive is more expensive. Now we come back here. So mobile phone 1, I write number 1 is number 2. So what is it? Can you help? Think a minute. Okay, so I say number 1 is more expensive. More expensive, then I need this word. Very good. More expensive than number 2. Number 1 is more expensive than number 2. Perfect. So, one more time. We have adjectives. And then we have comparative adjectives. We use adjectives when we want to talk about one thing. We use comparative adjectives when we want to talk about or compare two things. Put two things on the scale. Number one, here mobile phone number one and mobile phone number two. Very good. So we said the first group, the adjective is one syllable. We just add er, like fast, faster, slow, slower. The second group, we said at the end of the adjective, we have consonant, vowel, consonant. We double the last consonant and we add er, like big, bigger. The third one, we have two syllables, but at the end of the adjective, we have y. So we change y to I and we add er, heavy, heavier. The fourth group, like expensive, we have more than two syllables and we don't have y. We have two syllables and more than two syllables and we don't have I. What do? We add more before the adjective. Very good. There is another group, but that's not a rule. They are irregular adjectives. Adjectives. Like what? Like, for example, good. What is the comparative of good? Better. B-E-T-T-E-R. Bad. Worse. These two are enough. So we have good, which is better. The comparative adjective is better, and we have bad. The comparative adjective is worse. For example, I say the pizza in this restaurant is better than the pizza in the other restaurant. So this is about comparative adjective. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, a beautiful thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. So for the next videos, when they come out, you get notified. You can do that by clicking on this picture right here. Thank you very much.